it's not, like I said, just about a title.
Right.
It's about wanting to help people get to the next level. So I believe in my leadership as an empowerment tool,
Yes.
educating people, giving them what they need to be able to impact, because it's
Yes.
about impacting.
I know that's right. You're talking to an impact junkie. Absolutely.
It's about impact.
Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Reality Podcast with your girl, Taiji Charity. This podcast is for C-suite leaders to discuss their experiences and provide insight, encouragement, and inspiration for seasoned and inspiring leaders, offering valuable solutions to today's challenges that will inspire, ignite, and invigorate new and seasoned leaders to walk in their God-given authority with compassion, kindness, and empathy. So sit back, relax, and be prepared to be inspired with today's episode of Leadership Reality. Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Leadership Realities with me, Taiji Charity. Today's guest is truly a community leader who I often see at every social impact event that I attend, okay? Her name is Lorna Little. She is the president and CEO of St. Anne's Family Services, where since 2018, she has led transformative programs for children and families with a focus on underserved communities, leveraging her expertise in social work, adoption, and foster care, as well as certifications in clinical social work and adoption studies. Lorna delivers impactful, holistic, and services to those in need. Known for her commitment to systematic change, Lorna is a strong advocate for equitable access to mental health, housing, and family support services. She brings a unique media and communications perspective to her work as the author of Moms the World. And a former TV host, using her platform to amplify voices and foster hope and empowerment. Active in several professional and community organizations, Lorna's leadership continues to inspire and drive generational impact through her work at St. Anne's Family Services. Lorna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you, Taiji.
I'm so excited to have you. I see you, let me tell you, I don't get out as much as I like to, but I love it when I'm showing up at events, especially social impact events of nonprofits doing, the groundwork to make a huge difference in the communities that they serve. You always there. You there with your camera, capturing every moment. I love it.
Well, I love it because I'm a big person that believes we should support dynamic and great events. And as you say, everyone can't be everywhere. I can't be everywhere. But when I'm able to attend, I want the community to know that there are people out here doing the work.
Yes.
And that's a part of my service and my gift. Although I'm not using my professional camera anymore, I've been using my cell phone because I do have the ability, and I do have professional camera equipment, and I've taken professional photos. But I just love the ease and access. So any way I can support others who are doing good things, we have to spread the news to the world.
I love it, and I appreciate that because we need people to show up and support. So thank you for that. But tell us about Miss Lorna Little. Who are you? How did you first realize you were a leader? Let's talk from the beginning.
Well, it's funny. You recognize as life goes on that you've been a leader since a young age. At least I recognize that. It's not about a position or a title.
That part.
It's that leadership quality.
Yes.
Always wanting to kind of solve problems, having the ability and interest in trying to make things better. I'm a why person. Why does this happen? How does that happen? Inquisitive. How can we solve this issue? I'm a team builder by nature. I remember being young on the playground, like, okay, we can do this way. Let's try this way. You all should really try to get along. Just being a person that if no one else is going to step in, just naturally stepping in and trying to make things better and trying to bring people together and trying to do that. And you don't really realize it until you get to a point where you become an adult and that you're in a work setting and people are like, oh, you figured that out, or oh, you answered this question. And it's like, okay. And then opportunities begin to present themselves because you've gained the academics and the other pieces that comes alongside that. So I've been blessed to be able to be a leader. I remember the early roles that I had working in a employee assistance program as the manager and stepping into that space, and then going back and getting my degree and using social work and all of those opportunities to be able to help and empower and assist was important to me in terms of leadership. Because it's not, like I said, just about a title. It's about wanting to help people get to the next level. So I believe in my leadership as an empowerment tool, educating people, giving them what they need to be able to impact, because it's about impact.
I know that's right. You're talking to an impact junkie. Absolutely.
It's about impact.
It is about impact. I heard a quote once that said, it's irresponsible to show up in a room and see a need and know that you can fulfill the need and not. Like, I know I'm butchering up the quote, but the essence of it is to see a need and know that you can be the answer or provide the support and not do anything.
And that is my love and passion. You know, I remember being in school and in college, and there was a class on deductive reasoning. I'm going to look and I'm going to analyze and I'm going to figure out there's got to be a way to help. There's got to be a better way. You know, when I think about even leadership and staffing and working with people, I used to say I'm looking for team members that have commitment and competence. Those two go together. Then I added the third one, curiosity.
Ooh, that's
because
good.
those 3 C's will get you to people who want to be there. They are connected with the mission and what you're trying to do. You got the competence. They know how to go about it. They have the expertise and the experience, and they want to gain more. But then that curiosity is the why. And how can we make it better, and how can we fulfill? You have those 3 together. You have some dynamic and amazing people that you can lead and work with.
That's good. I'm putting that on our next job description. Look, when we post our next position, the CCC,
all right,
we go at that is amazing.
And that CCC can lead you to the C-suite.
Hey, that's what I'm talking, because that's what really it's all about, right? Because when I'm out of this position or you out of your position, you want to know that you've left it to someone who is capable, right? Competent, and like you said, curious to be able to take it to the next level of impact. Because we are mission-focused, social, just change agents, right? That is our why. That's why we exist.
Our work, when you recognize the weight of the blessing in these roles. Not that it's easy.
No, not at all.
Not that it's a cakewalk.
Not at all.
But it is still a blessing. So when you recognize the weight of the blessing, you have to want to do your best. You need people. You need team members. You know, we need to understand we're not always going to be right. We can't be perfect. We surround ourselves with individuals who join us in that vision to work towards that mission. Because it is important that we know that people are looking to us. You know, I think about the fact that I came to this position based on an opportunity for a CEO and president role here in Los Angeles. I traveled 3,000 miles, moved, left family, friends.
From where?
Left comfort from Connecticut.
Wow.
Because that was a part of what my purpose was supposed to be. But understanding that this was the part of the journey that landed us in LA, I have to take it seriously. I want team members who are going to really move us forward. We have a leadership team that is all female. Diverse. Diverse group of women that I love because it brings those perspectives, those leadership perspectives, those cultural perspectives that help us impact our young women, children, and families. Because, and when they look at us, they see a representation of everyone in our organization.
That's good.
So people are always like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so surprised. You know, all women leadership, diverse perspectives. It didn't start that way when I first came in. But
I was going to ask you that.
It ended up as I began to hire. And it's not that I was excluding anyone, but the best and the brightest that came to the table when I was hiring for positions, that's who was there. And it just, it's wonderful because the young women can see themselves. I always say that I want somebody who is going to step into the role who sees like, oh, Miss Lorna, you know, because that lived experience that you spoke about is real. You know, I was a young parent, you know, to see the CEO having had that in her background, having come from a community that I wasn't wealthy and all of those things, not in finances, let's say, because you know we can be rich in spirit.
Hey, you gonna have me sipping all day. Come on now.
But
Yes.
I want them to know that it's possible for them. And that piece for me is critical. That they can see themselves. You know, they say if you can see it, you can be it.
Absolutely.
And too many times they don't get to see it.
They don't get to see it.
So the first African American CEO
of St. Anne's.
Of St. Anne's in over 100 and 16, 17 years.
Wow.
It's a big deal, and I like I said, the weight of the blessing is real.
The weight of the blessing. I love that. I just love those two together because oftentimes we feel the weight and we talk about the weight, and sometimes we even complain about the weight. But the weight is a blessing, and it's a huge responsibility.
It is.
It is a huge responsibility. So I want to know, because I read in your bio that you were a TV host and you have an entertainment industry background. When did that switch and change happen to nonprofit leadership?
So it's interesting. They've been parallel all along. And that's the thing that I find interesting, even just as I share with people, because they always say, well, when did it switch or how did that happen? I think as leaders, it is important that our emerging leaders and just people in the community, you try and do anything you have an interest in.
Oh, I like that. You can say that again so the people in the back can hear you. One more time.
Yes. Try and aspire to do anything you are interested in. Because only thing can happen is you either find out you enjoy it, you don't enjoy it, you like it, or that's the way you want to go.
Yes.
And I remember saying this. I'd rather have been a has-been than a never been.
Hey, I know that's right. Look, I'm gonna take another sip on that one.
And the reason, go ahead. And the reason I say that is people would say, well, you're going to be a Jill of all trades and a master of none. I said, no. Because the experience has a lesson in it.
Yeah, everyone.
Every single one. And so I've been a television producer. I've been the host. I've been talent production coordinator. When you have a small production, you do it all.
You tell me about it.
But I learned a lot from that, even from my social
transferable
work side.
Skills too,
because I sat down and I've spoken with mega artists and folks who are on the top of their game today, from Queen Latifah. I was talking to MC Light the other day, L.O. Cool J. I've spoken with actors and Morris Chestnut and all these people. And here I am. I was a young woman who said, I want to do a show. What's the title of the show? I thought about it. I said, Lorna's Corner. And that was the title. And I started in community television. But the reason I even raised that around leadership is I was leading a team.
Yes.
Alongside my dear husband, we got together, and he always supported and made whatever dream and vision I had happen. And we got together and we had a production team, and we were taping, and we were doing editing, and we were doing location shoots. And I only share that because every experience provides you with some lessons.
Yes.
And I had to be a leader as the executive producer of the show alongside my spouse, Alonzo. So everything you try, you learn from it.
Yeah.
You also, how do you know what you don't like if you don't try something?
Look, I was talking to my last guest. I was like, young people don't know what you don't know. And that's all of us. We don't know what we don't know until we're actually exposed. And the arts is so powerful because we are all arts consumers.
Yes.
Whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's television, we're all gaining something from the things that we are watching.
And one of the things that I would say, moving from that is that the show, although it had the entertainment piece, the role was always edutainment. It was education and entertainment mixed.
I like that.
And what we talk about, we talk to the youth. We talk about, at the time, there was a lot going on in the community around gang violence, and people were dealing with unemployment and mental health, all the things that are still happening, but just in different layers now. And I would take time to talk about that. I'd have solutions and job postings at the end that would scroll up at the end of the program. Amazing. And a critical component of our show that made our show different, we didn't have a big budget. We didn't have a lot of funds. It was showing people that if there's a will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way.
And the final piece I would always ask people at the end of each show is, I need you to share words of wisdom for our young people and people in the community watching. So it's nice to know that you have a song or music or you made a movie and all of that. That was beautiful.
Right.
But what I want to give our folks who sometimes would listen to this artist or this entertainer more than they would listen to a parent or family,
Right.
is for them to share something positive. And so many of those words of wisdom, people didn't have those on their shows because that's not what they were asking them.
Right.
They were asking them about
To
the good
entertain.
times and entertain.
Right.
But I wanted them to share. And I have young people that are adults now to this day that said what Biggie said to me on that interview impacted them so deeply. It changed the way they looked at things. What LL Cool J said, talk less, listen more.
Yeah.
Those different words, and it wasn't just canned statements. They really thought about that. So
that is so powerful, because that's what we all have a responsibility. One, to speak life, because people are listening, and also to show up and be very authentic in terms of how you process, how you grow, especially when you're an artist that everybody is watching. People want to understand the journey, right? They want to know, well, how did you get there? And what can you share with me to help me on my journey of whatever it is that I want to do? So thank you for that. Can we still watch those shows? Can we go in the archives?
They could go in the archives. I always joke and say, just remember, I was 20-something doing a show, and I was your around the way girl, but it's okay.
It's okay. It's the information and the nuggets that you gain from that.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because when you came into St. Anne's, you had a team already there, and then, of course, you had to do some revamping and hiring new people. What was that like for you with working with leaders or individuals on your team that you may have discovered weren't the best fit, or they discovered they weren't the best fit?
So I'll say it this way. It's more along the lines of, I think, that when a new leader comes in, people have an opportunity to see that leader's style. I'm very transparent.
Yes, I like that.
I'm authentic. What you see is what you get.
Yes.
I take a moment to assess, though. I think a leadership trait that emerging leaders and leaders need to know, you don't just rush in and make changes.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
You go in, you look, you evaluate, you see what's working well, you see things that need to be changed, and you do that and you implement that. For me, I think some of it was, we had a great team. I know a couple people, had an opportunity to take other opportunities outside the organization. So that was a great moment for me to be able to look and say, okay, how do I replace this position? Who do I bring in? And I looked for people that fit with that whole commitment, competence, curiosity, and found some great people to replace. There was someone who actually had left the organization right around the time when I had joined. They were in a different position. They were able to come back and become like our HR person, because it was an elevation. So it's one thing that I can say that I love about St. Anne's Family Services. We have some people that have been there for a while, but we've also have a history of sometimes people will leave to see, if the grass is greener elsewhere, and we often see them come back because what they enjoy is the culture of the organization.
Yes.
I believe you can't work with people if you don't care about the people that you work with,
right,
or the people that you're working on behalf of. And I go into every new hire orientation when we have the groups, and I have said this to our team, I don't want anybody working here that doesn't want to be here.
Yes, this is more than just a job.
This is more than just a job. You could have got a job at Home Depot, anywhere.
Right, anywhere.
But you've made a commitment to come and work with our families.
Yes.
And I want you to know that every decision you make, every conversation you have is going to impact someone's life.
Yes.
Therefore, I need you to take this seriously. So if you, at this very moment, are sure you can have that level of commitment, I want you to think that through.
I love that. For those who don't know St. Anne's, tell us about the mission of the organization.
So, St. Anne's has been around a long time. What it started as years ago, hundreds of years ago, was a maternity home. It was a place where someone was possibly pregnant, few months down the line or even further out, and the family and them decided that they wanted to make a plan of adoption. It was a safe haven for them to go and have their child.
Okay.
Evolution. We have now expanded into focusing on youth that are involved with the foster care system. And we have young people living there who become pregnant with their children, They often at this time aren't making a plan of adoption, but we're providing parenting skills. We're giving them everything that they need to set them up for success. Workforce development programs. You know, I was excited about your program because I was like, okay, we need to have our young people training in places like this, you know, to be able to get those skills. We have mental health services open not just to our program participants, but to the community.
Oh, that's
so we have
great.
counseling. We have, you know, people hear St. Anne's Family Services and they vision a small organization.
Right.
I'm leading an organization that has a $30 million operating budget. We have about 400 employees plus.
Okay.
We have about 500 children in our Head Start programs. That's the evolution of the program.
Wow.
We have permanent supportive housing, which is a new building that came about in 2018. We have transitional housing. So we have 40 individuals. So we're working with those TAY youth. We're working with the youth that are 18 and under. We're working with 18 all the way up. And we're providing services, wraparound services. We have an office on Crenshaw Boulevard.
Oh my
Some people
gosh.
don't even realize that. We built 2 early learning facilities for our Head Start program in Linwood.
Wow.
And so this has all happened since I've been there. And a lot of this, especially the building of the centers, was during the pandemic. You want to talk about a challenging time in leadership.
Now talk about it. That part.
I mean,
small organizations like ours, we were like, we're going to even survive the pandemic.
And so many people didn't.
Right.
So that's a real question.
Right.
But we had housing that required staff there.
Yeah.
So here's this COVID-19, we don't really fully know what it is, but what we know is our staff has to be there.
Yeah.
That's a very stressful time.
Right.
I kept telling people what they're feeling in terms of leadership is you had people looking for certainty in uncertain times.
Ooh.
And that is heavy.
That's very heavy.
But we did the best we could as a leader. We made sure we kept clear communication. We had people that had to come in. We paid higher pay for that frontline workforce.
Yes.
We are all essential workers. There were people who were nervous. We get it. Those that we were able to allow to work from home in certain roles, they could, but the majority had to come in. We're communicating and dealing with people for all these services. And as a leader, I recognize that I can't ask people to do something that I'm not willing to do.
That you're not willing to do. Look, let me tell you, I was in the kitchen sweeping earlier and one of the youth was like, you the CEO. I'm like, yeah, we are. It's too much for one person to do. We all got to jump in.
When we see something that needs to be done, when we
it.
talk about risk management,
Right.
if I see a boulder on the floor and I'm going to wait for somebody to come and do it. I mean, a small boulder because, you know, I'm strong, but I may not be big enough to bring a big boulder. But something on the floor, I'm not going to say wait for maintenance because guess what? Somebody may come and trip on it right after I walk past it.
Exactly.
And guess whose responsibility it comes back to? Me.
Absolutely.
I'm stepping in. And that's the thing, wanting everybody to be part of the responsibility. But seriously, during the pandemic, I mean, we had set up, you know, if someone got ill in terms of in our program, we had trailers set up so that if we had to isolate someone, we set up testing, on-site testing when it was hard to get testing.
Yes.
We purchased iPads for all the families and children, our early childhood education center, so they can still get the instruction.
Yes.
So the teachers would Zoom in with the parents
and
then teach the lessons, and the parents had to teach because they were home. There were so many elements, and we came together. We became so bonded as a leadership team because then with all of that going on, it's funny how things can happen. We always we had so many all staff trainings. We do like 4 in one day to meet all the schedules. And I kept saying, there has to be a way to do this. Well, you know, the pandemic pushed us. All of a sudden we had Zoom and everybody could join one Zoom at a time. So there were some good things that we learned from that. But during that time, people were nervous. They were fearful for families. Some people had people die. You know, I had a cousin that passed away during that time. It was real deep.
Stressful.
And then we had all the things that were going on in the community with social justice and George Floyd's death and all the things, and Breonna Taylor, just so much was going on. And then that added another layer. So now you're dealing with COVID and the community, and then our staff who are very active and very passionate about justice, dealing with that. I remember having a staff meeting, an all-staff meeting, where folks were crying and people were just so emotional, but we held that space.
You had a safe space for
This
them.
wasn't the day to talk about the agenda of the things that we need to accomplish and all of that. This was the day to let people grieve and feel.
Oh, that's good.
And so one of the things I think about leadership is listening and paying attention to what the needs are, not just for the program participants, but for your staff.
Mindful. That's a mindful leadership strategy.
Because if you don't, how do you expect them to carry out taking care of others when they're not taking care of themselves? We do a training called Risking Connections, which is really great about looking at yourself and looking at kids and all the layers. So trauma informed, you can't be trauma informed just for the kids. You have to think about that
for yourself as well. Absolutely. Why? And you started with St. Anne's in what year?
2018.
And then COVID hit.
So it was.
Ooh, that says a lot about you as a leader, though.
So I'm in a new place, in a new state, in a new role.
Yeah, I would have failed.
And you know, with our board, working with our board, and we got it done. And the thing about pivoting, everybody used the word pivoting during the pandemic.
Right.
I think I'm blessed with a level of resilience.
That's good.
Emotional intelligence and calm. And I don't say that in a puffed up way. The way that I'm built, I remember one of our staff members who's now leading her own organization said, I really appreciate you, Lorna, because through everything, when there are challenges, you are our North Star. For a staff member to speak that and say that, and especially on the way out the door to her new leadership role, which I felt good because she was our COO, and it was like she stepped into that. That is a wonderful thing to hear.
Best compliment.
Because that is what I've been built with. That's how I've come up. And sometimes you don't know why you have the things you have and those things, but it's been a great trait as a leader. I'm very self-aware.
Yeah.
I know who I am.
Yes, that's
I
good.
know the things that are pluses and minuses, and I'm conscious of that.
Wow.
And that's what I want to show and talk about with our leaders, because you have to always be succession planning.
Yes.
Someone is coming up behind you.
Yes.
And you want to be able to have all the things that you've accomplished continue. And if you don't have that plan in place,
then
it's
you've
very
done all
difficult.
that work, right? You've done all that work for the moment, instead of for the future.
Yeah,
and
just like you, your organization, you're a visionary leader. I think that's important. I think sometimes where we get caught up, you know, I do say no money, no mission, but you know, sometimes you're visionary, but you need the funds to keep the vision going.
Absolutely.
Because let me tell you, I've had so many great ideas. I'm going to be honest with you.
Right.
I've had amazing ideas. Some of them haven't come to pass because there needs to be certain levels of funding.
Right.
I've had shows that I had visions for that I see on television that have become amazingly successful, that they were shows that had never been done. I had the same thought. Two people can have that same thought, but you need the support and
absolutely
the funding. And so that's why that business side of this, I'm running a business,
it's crucial.
The business of people.
Crucial.
They see nonprofit leaders and they're looking at us like, oh, you guys are so nice.
Right.
You're doing
Isn't
such
that cute?
nice work. Isn't that cute?
All the kids are making films. And I'm like, oh, no.
And I'm like,
so much bigger than that.
Do you understand that we have compliance?
Yes.
Lots of it. We have audits.
Yeah,
we have, you know, we've been blessed to, you know, be COA accredited, and we've been, you know, gold stars on all the things that we've done. Do you know what it takes? They're looking at everything, programming, looking at finances, all the things. So being a leader in a nonprofit environment isn't just about doing good work. You have to be a business leader.
You have to.
Stakeholders, board members want things.
Yeah.
You know, everybody needs something, and trying to be able to balance that and take care of ourselves too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still working on that last part, taking care of
We all
self.
are. We all are.
You know, because when I started Kids in the Spotlight, for me, it really was, I just felt like it was ministry work. Like I saw a need and I wanted to make sure young people knew that they were worthy, that God created them for greatness, and that foster care does not define your story. Like I came in with that mentality, and I'm like, I'm looking for people who have a heart for young people. Look, let's just get the job done. But then I had to end up stepping back and understand, wait, you're still building a business. So for sustainability purposes, you got to go back and really understand business structure and how to build the business. And that was hard for me because as a visionary, you always thinking of things. And then you have people along the way, oh, I got a great idea. And I'm like, honey, I'm not short of those. Like, look what you got. But I got so many of my own that it's hard sometimes to really just stop and pace yourself for the long haul.
Yes.
So I'm working on that self-care.
Yeah.
Part.
And we have to as leaders because we can't pour out if we're empty.
Right.
And so, you know, speaking of, you know, I had a moment when I was driving here and I said I was going to share with you. So we talk about me having these parallel journeys, you know, social work degree. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. You know, I had the thought of, am I going to go the entertainment route or social worker route or working in human services? And because I was a young mom, I made choices. I made the choice to go more in what I think was, what I believe is more of my destiny is going that social work leader route. Yes. But I never gave up my interest in my activities in the media sphere. Right. Slowed it down, of course, because I was too busy running and leading. But one day I had an aha moment because someone said to me, Lorna, how did you even get started thinking that you would do a show? And how did you even come to that? And it took me years to kind of relate back. There was a program, a summer youth employment program, that is basically doing similar to what you're doing.
Really?
It was called Off the Wall.
Okay.
And everybody was getting their jobs. You know, they were working as clerks or helping in an office. It was for, quote unquote, underprivileged, disadvantaged kids that met a certain economic guideline. You can get a summer job where you get paid. Everyone found out about their jobs. And I'm like the last one to find out, like, when is my job? I had a friend working in the tobacco fields because, you know, we had tobacco fields in Connecticut.
Right.
Here's my letter. You're going to work on producing a kids' television show, a television show with children.
Ooh, don't you love God?
And, you know, delayed but not denied.
Delayed but not denied.
And that's what I did. It was called Off the Wall. And guess what? Speaking of leadership qualities, they said you would be a good host. They liked the ideas that I had. I had leadership qualities even in that space. I think I was 13 years old.
Wow.
But I kind of did that and just did it and didn't think about it.
Right.
Didn't realize a seed was planted.
Yeah.
Went to college, got a degree in communication and psychology. So always had that parallel. So I'm saying that to say to you, what you're doing here. And when I was driving here, I said, Lord, this is the same journey. You don't know what you're planting in these kids fully and how it can manifest.
Yeah.
It may not be going to a big production company. They can start their own thing.
Absolutely.
But I will tell you this, the work that I did, even in that space with television, has been in films, has been in movies, has opened concerts that were major concerts. My video that was shown on a jumbotron around the world.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how small as an entrepreneur it is. You do what you do. You don't do everything. I'm a believer that you don't do everything for money. Don't get me wrong.
Right. You got to get paid, but that's not your motivation.
But that's not your full motivation because if you give your best,
absolutely,
the money will come.
Ooh. There's a scripture that says your gifts will make room for you.
Yes.
And that's the manifestation of your gifts making room for you.
Yes.
Look, I got about at least 10 more questions, and they've told me I got 5 minutes, and that was probably 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
But I just want to know, tell me what leaders do you admire? I want to know what leaders you admire, and also want to know, how do your team describe you as a leader? Let's end with those 2 questions.
Okay. I admire people. I mean, I admire current people, but I think of people from the past in terms of people. And you know, Ida B. Wells Barnett. I know going way back.
That's all right.
The fact that she was an activist, she used her voice for social justice.
Yes.
She spoke of inequalities. She was a researcher. The fact that she did different things, and I believe I enjoyed learning about her and researching her because She did different things. I love people who are multi-hyphenates.
Yes.
Because that's what I believe I am. Between being an author, between being a television work, a CEO, a speaker, all the different things, a clinical therapist, I believe I enjoy watching people lead. She was a woman at a time that was like, I am not, they tried to do so much to do to her. You know, Madam C.J. Walker.
Yes.
Looking at something and seeing a gap and saying, how can I fix this?
How can I fix this?
This woman became a millionaire.
Yep.
Self-made.
Yep. And
But
Annie
the
Malone.
pressing cone. It was
Annie Malone, then Madam C.J. Walker.
And then Madam C.J. Walker.
Absolutely.
But you know, I think I speak of Madam C.J. Walker because she was a young mom.
Yeah.
And so here was this young mother that was a teen mom who made it. So I mean, Nelson Mandela as a leader, being able to motivate people to change, to sacrifice himself for others. And we don't see enough about that. You know, we're in a time where me.
Right.
Me,
well,
me,
that's
me,
social
me.
media, right? That's yeah.
Everything's about me.
Everything.
But we need to think bigger. We need to think about our community. We need to think how we can impact. So leaders who are using their voice for good, who use their creativity for good, who are willing to stand up for the rights of children and families, people who, you know, and what they say about me, which I'm grateful that they've said it, you know, they say give them give you your flowers while you're around. They've said to me that, and I'm trustworthy.
Good.
That they can come and talk to me. Even my COO, who ended up taking on this position, she came and told me way before she got the job. Because what I say to people is, of course I want you here, but more importantly, I want the best for you.
Yes.
And if growth and change to the next level, I'm proud.
Yes.
So it's not just about me. So I think, you know, they say that I'm fair.
Good.
I believe in diversity, in thought. I believe in them doing what they need to do to take care of themselves, but also two things that I forgot to say that I want to say. I lead by high support and high accountability.
Ooh, I like that.
This is how I lead.
High support and high accountability.
I'm going to give you...
we can have a whole... we can do a whole hour on just accountability.
But I will give you everything you need and support you.
Yes.
But I am going to hold you accountable.
I like that.
You can't have one without the other. If you give too much support and no accountability, it doesn't work.
Right.
People are just doing whatever and it's not effective. The impact to our clients and families, if you give just accountability, deadlines, do this, and do that.
And no support.
You burn people out and they're gone. So what they would say is, I am true to my philosophy of high support and high accountability.
Ooh. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was so good. I feel like we can do part 2, part 3, and part 4. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for what you're doing, because it is definitely more than planting seeds and working with these young people. And, you know, St. Anne's Family Services is, you know, an organization that has evolved. We stay on top of trends and what's happening, and we're meeting the people where they're at.
I love that. Well, there you have it. I hope that I know you've heard something today that will help you on your leadership journey. This has been a phenomenal time with Miss Lorna Little. Don't forget her book. We're going to put it in the chat. Not the chat. We're going to put it where you can see it. We'll post it. Make sure you see the title of her book to go out and get that. But thank you for joining us today. And remember to do those 3 magical words: like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay focused on your leadership journey, because you too have a responsibility to help someone else. Have a great day. Bye now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I hope you were inspired and you gained some valuable nuggets that will help you to become a better leader and to walk in your God-given authority. Bye until next time.